What is going on, traders, and welcome back to IFX. And today we're going to talk about an easy and simple strategy using just the 1 hour trend blocks. So we're going to have to right over here, we're going to talk about 3 different stages, and this is going to be really simple that you're going to love this strategy. So what do we have in here? What do we need? So the major thing that we need is we're going to need the dashboard, and we're going to activate all the 1 hour blocks, right? We have the reversal block, the retest, the trend block, retest, the 1 hour B zones, and then we're also going to activate the 4 hour reversal block, just kind of an extra confirmation, and we're going to have the mid-level, and then we're also going to activate this column, which is going to be the 1 hour MA using the 13 simple moving average. So this is going to be so simple. And so what are the 3 stages that we're going to talk about? So the 3 stages that we're going to talk about is going to be block formation. So of course, we need to know what type of blocks are we having in that particular pair, right? So the block formation, which is going to be stage number 1, what I did is that I picked for trend blocks or reversal block, I picked a maximum of 3 days old block. So what does that mean is that maximum of 3 days, it could be that if we're showing a block over here, I'm not sure what type of block this is, well, meaning how old it is. You know, I know that it's up to 3 days, but it could be a block that happened today, or it could be a block that happened yesterday, or it could be a block that happened 3 days ago. Okay, so this is very important. So, you know, the main thing right now is block formation, so up to 3 days, right? So if I tell the dashboard, hey, listen, give me blocks that are 3 days old, so now it's going to filter out for me, so I don't have to actually look at pound dollar because, hey, I have no block that is currently nor 2 days old or 3 days old. So I'm only going to concentrate on the pairs that I actually have active blocks, right? So, you know, out of 21 pairs that I have in here, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pairs I have potential entries for right now. Right? So that's the first thing that we need to know. So that's the stage number 1 will be block formation, which we're going to talk about right over here. We're going to see, look at our pair right here. This is pound dollar. So this is stage number 1 where we have a block formation. We can tell that the market has been trending going to the upside. So that's really the number 1 tip, right? Wait for a block formation to happen mainly, and the best thing would be for both type of blocks to happen at the same time. The closer together they are, the better it is. So that's the first thing that we need to know, right? So then after that, what happens, right? How do we actually confirm that this block is going to be valid? We need to validate this block because oftentimes we know that we get a block and what has happened? It actually gets invalidated. The market keeps going higher and higher. So for example, we have this reversal bearish block right over here. So all of a sudden, we're not going to enter right the first time we get the block. Why? Because we don't know how the price is going to react. We don't know if this is just a small, small movement to the downside to keep on going higher and higher. So that's what we don't know. That's why we're going to move on to stage number 2, right? So on stage 1 or day 1, when we get the block, we're just gonna leave it alone just to kind of see the reaction. That's what we're waiting for. We don't want to like trigger entry on that block and say, let's just hope that it actually goes in my direction. So that's the first thing. Now the second thing is moving on to stage number 2. So how do we know that stage number 2 we're actually going to know that this block is going to validate that, right? That we're gonna go into that direction. So here will be trend confirmation or block confirmation, right? So again, what are we waiting for now? The market usually, when we get the block, so like right here, we get the block and the market retraces back, right? So the market over here retrace back into the zone, into this, we call this in between the high and the block. This is called the zone, right? So on the dashboard, we're gonna have something that says that we are in the zone. So that means the market had retraced back, and that's when we're actually going to be active and say, are we going to confirm this block? Are we going to have the strength confirmation so that we can actually enter into that direction, right? So once we do that, when we're in the zone, sometimes we don't get that, but when we do, that's thumbs up, right? So block retest, meaning that the block, we have a the price coming back to the block, and then we get a block retest where we actually get some arrows that the block, we have retested this block, and now we can actually enter. Also, we're gonna use the 13 simple moving average. We're gonna also use a confirmation, the prior day mid-level, and then we're also going to use the MACD in 1 hour. And the MACD, write this down, we're gonna be using the parameters of 5, 14, and 2. Okay, so now knowing this trend confirmation, what are we going to do? So we're gonna go back in here to the dashboard just for 1 second. Let me just move this up. Go down a little bit. We're gonna go here to the dashboard, right? Okay, so here's back to the dashboard. So right here we have our B zones, right? So if we have anything in the zone, it's going to tell us, hey, we have something in the zone. So that means that we have some, the price is back into the blocks, right? So this is stage number 2 when we have something that it says the zone. So that means this is stage number 2. So how do we move on? What do we want? So this is something like in particular, right now we're going to ignore the 4-hour block. This is the extra confirmation just to confirm that we're going to that trend direction, right? But just for right now, we want to make sure that the reversal block and the trend block are going into the same direction. We have here, well, of course, we have the 4-hour reversal block, so it's bullish. We are above the mid-level, and then we also above the moving average. So pretty much here, we have everything that we're looking for, right? The only thing is the market has already, we're not in the zone, so more or less, maybe we're out of that zone already. We are past stage 2. We will have to confirm and look at the graph, but that's something that we're going to look in a little bit. So. But the main idea in here is that we want these two to be in red, or at least the H1 to be in red. Why? Because that's when we're looking for to enter again into the same direction of the block. So I'm going to go into more details, but this is pretty much what we're looking for. So right over here, let's say this is all bearish, so this is also good. That means maybe we're also already in a trend, which could be stage 3. So is there anything here that actually, I just had before an explanation that I was going to give you, but it happened too late, which was Australia and New Zealand. So this was the best example. We're on this is stage 1, which happened yesterday, right? And this is stage 2 already, where the price was close to the zone, but so since we didn't get a retest entry, right, because we would not too much on the zone, we would have to wait for 2 things to happen. 1, we're looking for the mid-level, right? So based on the trend confirmation, we either want to see a block retest, which we get sometimes we don't. So that's, this doesn't have to happen all the time. Then right here, the major thing would be that we have a candle that closes below the 13 simple moving average. So this right here, this is a great plus, right? So we have the block that happened on stage 1 or day 1. We wait for a retracement. So on the next day, which will be today, we are looking for a what? The candle to close below the 13 simple moving average, to be as close as we can or already below the prior day mid-level. So what is the mid-level? Right over here, this is the prior day mid-level. We are on this is today, and this is the prior day mid-level. We want to be below it, or at least very close to it, right? We want to be at least very close to it. We don't want to have a big gap. And the third thing or fourth thing that we want is the MACD in 1 hour to be either descending, or the best would be that we are already at below the 0 line. So that would be the ideal for the trend confirmation for stage 2, right? So this entry right here was actually a good entry. We closed below the MA, right? We are really close to this the mid-level, and actually when that happened, our mid-level for the MACD was already below the zero. So this is good. We don't want to enter when MACD has a big bump up. We don't want to wait. We want to wait and enter when it's already descending way lower, as close as we can to the zero line. So this was actually our first entry, which was great. Now, the earlier that it happens, the better it is. So right now we had a candle closing above the MA. So what is it going to happen is that the dashboard is going to tell us that we are either above or below the MA. So this is when it comes to the tricky part, right? Or the best part of all is that we're going to be looking at the dashboard right over here and say, are we above or below? But that is why I was telling you, we want to be, if we want to be, this is in red, because then I want to wait, I want to get an alert to be above the MA to be able to enter along the way with all of this right here. So this is what we're looking for. So this will be stage 2 or stage 3, which we're going to be just talk about just in a bit. So in any of this, actually, I don't have anything, or just Australian, New Zealand that just happened right now. This would have been an entry right as of right now. So it would have been a sell because we got a candle closing below the MA. So this would have been the second entry, and we are below the MACD. We are below the prior day mid-level. So we have already everything that we need to confirm trend confirmation, right? So this is stage 2, which is awesome. This is great. So this is another example right over here, which would be pound dollar. So this is stage 1. Stage 2, which would be right over here, right? So we wait for market to retrace back. We wait for a candle to close below the moving average. We also want to make sure that we're either as close, or that we also close below the mid-level, which would be right here, right? So this is the prior day mid-level. We're on stage 2. So we got 1, and we actually got another opportunity right here. And then also the MACD, if you can tell, we are also below the zero line. So this is already my trend confirmation, a perfect entry. The earlier that you can make this during the day, the better it is. The later would be, you can still get an entry. So right now the market retraced back. It closed above the moving average, and then all we're doing is we're waiting for another candle to close below the moving average to re-enter again. As long as everything stays the same, we are below the mid-level, what do you call the MACD is below the zero line, so we will re-enter in here, and then you're actually able to get some pips right over here. So that is what we're looking for. So Australia and New Zealand gave us that idea, gave us that extra confirmation. Then what about gold? Let me talk about in here. So with gold, we also had stage 1, right? Which is we got a block. The second block, it happened on this day over here. So I'm going to consider these 2 days as stage 1. Good thing is the MACD is already above 0. So what we're waiting for now is on this 3rd day right over here, which we're going to consider stage 2. I'm going to just make this a little bigger. We're waiting for a candle to close above my mid-level, right? So the criteria will be we have already the blocks happening, right? We want the MACD to be above the zero line if we want to buy, and then we want a candle to close above my moving average. So this would have been the entry right over here. This would be the prime entry. Then after that, well, it kind of left us behind, and then that's it. If whoever didn't enter, well, you missed your chance. Or if you would had a retest alert, you could have entered again right over here. We are above the moving average. We are above the mid-level. We are above the MACD. So this would have been the other opportunity to enter and then be able to get this on gold. All right, so this sounds good. So this is pretty much the stages. Now, stage 3, which happens not all the time, but it does happen, will be trend continuation. Okay, so you have to notice what can you know that we have a trend continuation, that the market sometimes, most of the time, we get this, there are times we get the blocks, stage one, and then it was a fake block, and then it just actually reverses, and then we don't get none of this, right? So then after that, if everything, we have trend confirmation, like right over here, and we have a nice strong move, we can tell by the MACD, we can tell by the difference in the move right over here with the mid-level. We have a nice strong move, so we can move on to trend continuation, which will be for the next following day. So again, how do we re-enter on a trend continuation? Would be that we await again for a new candle to close above the moving average. If we want to buy, we want to be above the prior day mid-level, and then now for trend continuation, we want to make sure that now the MACD in 1 hour and 4 hours are actually going in the same direction. During stage 1 and 2, the MACD usually on 4 hours, especially after a strong trend, is not going to be below or above the line, when stage 1 and 2 happens, right? Most of the time. Sometimes it could happen. But if it's not like that, it's okay. We're only gonna make sure on trend continuation that the MACD in 4 hours is actually going in our direction, so we know that we are continuing with that trend. So that's very tricky. You have to make sure you look at it to be able to make sure that this is going in our direction. So I'm going to show you right over here on pound dollar. So what do we have over here is that we had stage 1 right over here, stage 2, right, stage 3. Stage 3 is right here. We wait for the price to come back out of the moving average. We are below the mid-level. We are below the MACD. We re-enter when we get an alert from the dashboard that we close below the moving average, and then we could enter again. So we had one chance here. We had one chance in here. And then here we had a stage 4, which was again trend continuation, stage 4 or day 4, right? We are below the prior day mid-level, we are below the MACD, but now in order for us to re-enter here, we actually, I'm going to use in November 23rd, we have to now go to H4 and see and reconfirm that we are below the MACD. So we're definitely below the 0, the MACD bars are below, so this is a definitely trend continuation, so that we can actually re-enter again on a nice pullback, and then when it closes below the moving average, then we will re-enter again, right? So stage 3, it becomes stage 4, and then here it actually became stage 5, and then it just kept dropping and dropping without giving us a chance going to the upside. I mean, it just keeps dropping and dropping. Unfortunately, for many that out there that are buying, well, this would be a big boo-boo, right? So on 4 hours, we have a strong MACD going to the downside, and then we can tell the steps by using the mid-level. And all we do is we wait for a candle to close below the moving average. So what happened is that on maybe stage 4 and stage 3, we might get a stage 1 bullish block, right? So this is stage 1 bearish block. So somewhere along the line in here, we could have gotten a bullish block in here. So how do we detect that the bullish block is actually invalid? So you can actually say this is an invalid block because 1, the MACD is very strong to the downside still. It's not even close to turn to the 0 line. 2, we are really far away from the prior day mid-level. So then that's why when you got sometimes bullish blocks waiting for a stage 2 entry, then you might not get it. You might have to re-enter again on a stage 4 and 5 trend continuation. So this is the main thing that you have to understand, is that just because you get a bullish block does not mean that the market is going to turn around, right? And you have to also see that when you get both of the blocks together, that's the best thing. Sometimes we get the reversal block first, but sometimes we might not get the trend block yet. Okay, so this would have been another entry right over here to sell. Although we could have had a bullish block, then we would still have to doubt it and see if it's true. Well, what does the market do? It drops again, and then it just keeps dropping again, and it just keeps dropping again until when? I have no idea. But this right here is the perfect example of trend continuation, of different stages that it just continues and continues, as long as you have this idea right here. So again, we can have different variations because unfortunately the market does not give us the same stages all the time. So that's something that you have to understand. Sometimes we get stage 1, but we might not get stage 2. It jumps sometimes straight to stage 3, meaning that on stage 1 it moves so strong that it didn't get a block retest, right? So pretty much it went down and it never retraced back to the original block. So we don't get sometimes stage 2. So on the next day, we maybe could be looking for trend continuation. So it's okay, we missed this one, but we can actually re-enter again based on trend continuation. So that's something that you have to understand. Also, there are times when after stage 3, then we get back to the same cycle, stage 1 going to the opposite direction, or sometimes we get stage 1, stage 2, and then go back to stage 1, meaning the opposite direction. So we have different variations that you have to understand. We can get stage 3, which is trend continuation, multiple times, as you are able to see right here on pound dollar. That pretty much the market has just been trending and trending and trending with no turning back, right? That is pretty much what we're looking for, trend continuation. So although while you're on stage 3 and you might get a stage 1 a block formation to the opposite direction, just like doubt it and see, hey, maybe if I get a candle if everything meets, if I get a candle that closes below the moving average, I'm going to give that a try because there are higher probabilities that's going to go into that direction. That may be going back to stage 1, block formation, trend confirmation, and the whole 9 yards, right? So with that being said, understanding the different stages of the market, then all we have to do is we take in our right over here, a dashboard, and then we filter everything out. This is already giving us a filter of the most recent bullish or bearish blocks that we can get based on here. So if everything is green, and then if you want that extra confirmation, you can use the 4-hour reversal block. It is not necessary, but of course, the more the merrier, right? The better it is, right? So like, let's say in here, we have bearish, there's no block. It's okay. I will still, if we are below the mid-level and then below the HMA, I'm still gonna, look at it and see if maybe there's still a possibility, right? Maybe it's not a strong trend, but it still could be something. So in here, all we're looking for is to be all of them in the same color, except this 2, or maybe at least if it's a trend continuation, the H1, we want it to be in a different color because we're waiting for the opposite. We're looking for the opposite so that when we get the alert that we're below or above the moving average that goes along with our blocks, then that's when we're going to re-enter, right? So there's nothing in here. Everything right now in here pretty much matches our blocks. So there's nothing that I cannot really get into right now. We'll just have to wait until this one is below, this one is below, this one is above, and then wait again for another alert to be above, to either be below, be above, and so on and so forth, right? So right here, we still have below and below. We have no blocks whatsoever. That is because there's no fresh block, so we don't do anything in here. This is probably a new stage 1 block formation. So if you want to see what stage we're in on a particular pair, then all you have to do is click on it, right? So whether we're on stage 1, that block happened today, or whether we're on stage 2, or whether we're on stage 3. So you can just pretty much go in here. These 2 are opposite. So, it's best that you actually take a look and see what's going on. So it's best for them to be at the same level, right? So they say EuroCAD, let's see in what stage is it on, that maybe we can actually wait and see, hey, maybe this is the one I do want to look at it because it's fresh, it's a fresh new block or something like that, right? So that's something that you really have to understand. Also, what stage are we in? Oh my God, this is like totally missed. So right here, on this right here, we had stage 1, right? This block happened way too late, which you still could have entered, but I myself would have liked better at this price. You know, we moved across, we actually got a retest of this block, which happened to be above the moving average. We're so close to the mid-level, and take a look at the MACD. So this would have been an awesome entry right over here. Of course, this happened really early on, so this would have been the best entry. And of course, this would have been the second entry. I mean, this already moved already like a lot of pips, right? Already like 100 pips from here to here. So, oh my goodness. So this is pretty much the different stages. So now again, if I want to buy in here, it's gonna take in forever. I'm not even, that's it, it's gone. The trade is gone, because what do I have to do to buy again? I will have to wait either for tomorrow for the price to come back below the moving average, and then give me another opportunity to close above the moving average to be able to buy again. But this is long gone. There's nothing I can do with that, you know, about it. So you know what? I'm not even gonna worry about it, right? And here, this could be a possible entry. We just have to make sure that, you know, this is a possible take profit right here. This is a strong level right over here that possibly could stop it. But this right now, this is fresh. Of course, the closer it is to the blocks, the better it is, you know, but still this could be an opportunity to enter in here on a sell. So that is all you're gonna do, is you're going to take a look at all of your blocks, right? And then just kind of see I lost my my dashboard for some reason. I'm not sure why I lost it, but okay, so here's back the dashboard. I couldn't add the rest of the pairs, but the main idea in here is that all you have to do is look for all the ones that look alike, right? Everything is in the zone, which could be a stage 2, and all you have to do is see what stage are we on and wait for this to be the opposite, so that you can actually wait for another alert to come back to you, right? So when you're gonna go see the on the properties right here, so again, you know, this is very simple. We talked about this property, so that when you go all the way down here, I'm using you have to use the maximum days old as 3, right? I would recommend for the 4-hour block to be at least a minimum of 10. And then also, that's pretty much it. Then what we want to see on the columns is that we want to activate the 1-hour block. So right here, 1-hour reversal block, retest, trend block, the zone. And then you also want to have the 4-hour reversal block just for extra confirmation. It doesn't have to be, but of course, like I said, the more the better. And then at the end right here, we want to show the mid-level, and then here it says short candle MA. You're gonna say true, and if you want to get an alert, you know, when when the candle closes above or below the moving average, then you're gonna set that to true. And here you're gonna choose the 1 hour, which is the one that we're looking for, and then you're gonna change the settings to 13 MA, right? And the higher time frame blocks, we're gonna be using it at 60 on the settings. So I recommend really for the candle MA to be anything 1 hour or above. I don't really recommend this using it on 15 minutes and 5 minutes, because as you know, those moves a lot more faster, and then you're gonna get crazy alerts moving that it close above and below the moving average like 100 times. So you don't want that, you know, that's not the way to trade. So the best really would be anything above 1 hour, 1 hour and above. Okay, so that's it. All you have to do is set all the settings and then click OK, and then you're gonna get the alerts. All you have to do is just analyze each one of them, you know, you don't have to analyze pound dollar because we have no stage 1 whatsoever. So only the ones that are lit up. And then all you're going to do is you're going to click on them. You're going to give priorities, right? If you see that some of them are in the zone, then you're going to click on those and see if those are something that is coming up that is really worth looking into. Then you're going to give priority. You're going to give priority to those, the ones that are in the zone. Then the second priority will be the ones, of course, that are, you know, the MA or mid-level are, you know, pretty much indifference, you know, they're not yellow or green, I'm sorry, green, with the bullish block. So you're gonna give priority to those because you want to analyze, because of course that's a fresh block, then something is recent, so maybe you can move on to stage 2, right? So when you see this could be already in stage 2 or trend continuation. So then if you want to look at trend continuation, you want to see how far am I? Is it worth waiting for an alert for this, right? Is it worth waiting for? So then from there, you have to start filtering in the ones that you actually see that has a lot of potential. And then, you either want to do it manually, or you can even set the EA to actually enter for you, right? So, for something like, of course, not pound dollar, because this one is, we have no block or anything happening at this moment, but maybe gold. Let's say, for example, if we were looking at gold yesterday, right? Yesterday we could have said this, I'm like, you know what, I already got the block, I'm not gonna enter on this day. And then yesterday, let's say, you're like, I'm not sure yet. But then if you were able to see that the MACD already went above the moving above the zero line, it kind of started going down again, then, but maybe we can actually start getting an entry. So you can set the EA to give you a retest entry of this block, right? So which happened right over here. So this could have been an entry right here, retest entry, using the block on 1 hour using the EA. So this could have been a thing to just leave it on overnight and then enter, and then you would have gotten your pips, right? The same thing would have been for any other pair. I think it was EuroCAD. The only way that we could set the EA to enter on this particular would be either on a retest, because of course we don't have entries on just by crossing the MA, right? So this would have been another good entry right here. Or you could have set to enter on a regular block, right? Which would have been right here. So you could say maybe enter on a retest of this block, or entry on the trend block. And then there you go, right? Because you will be expecting the price to be above the prior day mid-level. Then you should be expecting the MACD already give us a bump to the upside. It's already like moving up, right? So you could be expecting something like that. So you could set the EA to actually enter for you. If you're not doing this manually, that is how you're going to set the EA. Hey, enter on a retest or enter on this block. You should be able to anticipate those type of entries. And then later on, we're going to talk about how you can use this to enter on 5 minutes, or even better, 15 minutes. But this is for those of you who love 1 hour, who doesn't want any stress whatsoever. As you're able to tell, I mean, this gave out already 100 pips, more than 100 pips. So you would have been done for the day. The same thing for gold, the same thing, would have been already some nice pips right over here. So you can definitely, once you analyze correctly and be able to enter, you should be able to get at least 50 pips or more, right? So same thing with gold. Like, look at this trend continuation, take a look at the MACD. It was huge. We were not going to buy right over here. We would have gotten a block to buy, but take a look how the MACD is so far away from the zero line. So this right here would actually, I did buy a sell in here, doing a trend continuation, right? So if I actually go to my 4 hours, make sure that the MACD is below the zero line. So this would have been a nice entry right here. This would actually here would have been another entry, small entry, when you wait for the MACD to cross below the zero line. So we are below the mid-level, it crossed below the moving average, and then all we have to do is reconfirm on the 4 hours that we are actually on a trend continuation, right? I'll take a look at the MACD on 4 hours. So definitely was a trend continuation, but now of course we are moving to the upside, and we don't know for how long, but at least that's what we're getting now, right? Okay, traders, so this is it for the dashboard on the 1 hour strategy. You're going to love it. So again, all we have to do is wait for our stages, wait for the MA alert to actually go along with our boxes or our trend blocks. And then here it is, the rules again. So stage 1 will be block formation. We wait for a 1 hour trend and reversal blocks to happen. Then on stage 2, we're looking for trend confirmation. We want to make sure that either we get a block retest or that we're in the zone. We close either below or above the moving average, whatever trend we're looking for, prior day mid-level and the MACD in 1 hour. Then trend continuation, we have to make sure we see a strong move, that we get an alert below or above the 13 moving average, we are below or above the prior day mid-level, and then we reconfirm on the 1 hour MACD and 4 hours for that trend continuation. And that's how the cycles happens again over and over again. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Write any comment below, or you can also sign in on the Telegram and ask your questions. And if anything, sign up on the course, and then I will see you around. Thank you, and I'll see. And I'm definitely going to be talking about more strategies using the reversal block dashboard. So thank you, and I'll see you